wanted to show you guys how to get this 90s soft glam makeup look. You saw this all over supermodels in the 90s, just like this black around the eye that really allows the eye to pop, be kind of the center of attention. You really can kind of bring this out and make it as dark as you want. And I also would say there's kind of two ways to do a 90s eye. This is one way with kind of like that soft cut crease, soft glam look. Another way is more like grungy, more like all over dark coloring. So if you want me to do that kind of 90s eye, I can also do that. But I think this is just great for like a date night. I will go to like galas with this kind of makeup. I just feel like very James Bond girl, you know? Like in the beginning of the film, she looks like more natural, like sporty spice. And then they always have that one scene where she walks out in a gown. And like, I want to be that girl, you know? I want to feel like that when I walk into a room. So this is very much up my alley, what I wear a lot when I'm going to kind of nicer events like that. And so I wanted to show you guys how I achieve it, how I make it super long lasting, so I don't really have to do touch-ups throughout the night, maybe just add a little bit of gloss. But yeah, so I wanted to show you how to do it, so let's just stop gabbing and get into the video. So I wanted to test out these Makeup by Mario Master Mattes new shadow, what are they calling them actually? Master Mattes Longwear Cream Eyeshadow. I got 4 shades. So far they have great reviews from what I've seen. I actually had to buy these shades off the website because Sephora, they were sold out, but online they have these shades. I got mauve and black, and then bisque and sandstone. And I thought I would just swatch really quickly so you could see up close what each shade looks like. This is so hard to do in when you're filming with your left hand. This is, so that was bisque, this is sandstone. I mean, so pretty. That's a great transition shade. Then going a little bit darker, we have mauve. This is so great for kind of this like 90s makeup look, just like soft, warmer, kind of taupey, but still neutral colors. And then the black right next to it. So I started with the lightest color here and then kind of brought it out in this kind of order like this. This is kind of how it ended up. So you want to learn how I use these to get this look, then keep watching. This is the shade Bisque. I'm not gonna go right onto the eye. Instead, I'm gonna grab a medium to small size brush, dip that into the product, saturate the brush. With liquids, you really want the pigment to go all the way down to the end of the brush. And then I'm just going to kind of go starting in the center here, covering any of that darkness that I see in the inner corner of the eye, and kind of sweep a light layer of this all over the lid. Sometimes with cream shadows, they can kind of get like mucky and muddy and hard to move around if you layer them too much. So I'm just taking precautions here as I haven't tried these yet. Just bringing that all the way out here. This doesn't look like much, but you really want to have like some kind of base to transition all the other colors that you're going to use. Okay, using the same brush, I'm going to go in with sandstone. This is a really beautiful like taupey neutral color, and I'm just going to place it only on the lid space. So when I open my eye, you kind of can't see all of my lid because it's kind of hooded, but I'm just gonna kind of put it where I feel my eyeball, if that makes sense. Because some of this color will kind of gradually move up because of your blending, it's really nice to just focus in a smaller area and let the brush kind of work for you. Kind of dragging this out towards the temple, and whatever's left, I'm gonna go underneath my eye, kind of filling out the bottom. You can kind of feel your eyeball, just kind of that's where you want to place it to make your eyes look a lot larger. You notice we're going lightest to darkest. I'm gonna go in the shade mauve now, and right above where we placed in the crease there, I'm gonna start tapping instead of kind of smudging it, because this is what's gonna kind of create the shape of our eye. Notice what shape I'm making. I'm starting going across, over, and then down, like I'm gonna sweep it underneath. And then I love to take it kind of into the nose and up into the eyebrow. This is really a nice trick to create a lot of like that model-esque bone structure. It looks a little bit crazy now, but when you finish the face off, it looks so good. Just taking a little bit what is left underneath. Remember, we don't have any foundation or anything on, so we can always clean up with our makeup after. I'm not a huge fan of the Master Mattes palette because I think it's really difficult for beginners to use. You have to kind of blend a certain runway, and it doesn't add a lot of color. It's more of like kind of like a dusty wash of color, and to really build it up, it gets kind of like patchy. So if you're thinking about getting the actual palette, not really my favorite. So I'm actually gonna start with like the smallest brush, and instead of putting this on the back of my hand, because I don't want to try and get the black off, I am going to just work some onto this brush, really saturate it. And I personally don't love a wing on myself, so I'm just gonna kind of stamp it into my lash line here in the outer third, being really careful because it does set. This is really what's going to take the most amount of time, so just be patient with it. It does give you a decent amount of work time though, so we'll say that's nice. Not removing itself when you layer it, which is actually awesome. I hate when you layer black products on top of each other and they just kind of remove themselves. Like, I have a lot of playtime with this. So nice. And it's not flaking. I'm gonna take a little bit of a bigger blending brush and kind of smudge that. Oh, that's so nice. Wow. Wow. The amount of playtime, the amount of blendability, I'm just blown away. This is incredible. Notice I'm making kind of like a shadow, and I love when it's kind of this soft black that turns into like a shadow color that really allows you to kind of contour the eye.
Wow.
Wow, wow, wow. This is incredible. This look is all about creating dimension, so you kind of are gonna lay down a lot of framework before you go into creating darker shapes, and this is what makes it look just so sultry and sexy and smudged and lived in, because it looks like it's kind of like part of you, like your bone structure, especially when you add the lashes. Just really all comes together. Again, I'm going to softly blend the edge out. Wow, these are incredible. Look at how it blends into that already previously blended color. He really redeemed himself with these, I think. Wow. Look at that. I mean, the playtime, it's not getting patchy. I mean, holy. I don't even think I'm gonna need a liquid liner on top of this. I think it might just be okay on its own. A little bit of a wing, but into that corner. I think soft shapes just feel a little bit more sexy in my opinion. Again, it's building so nice. I'm just blown away. I'm actually going to take that onto the inner corner now. Don't worry, we're gonna blend this all out a little bit better. Going back with our sandstone color, taking it on another clean brush, taking that in and starting on the inner corner. I'm just going to use that to clean, and at this point you really don't want to swipe, you want to tap because it's going to skip and look patchy. This is kind of how you create that like soft contoured blend. And on top here, oh my, I am so impressed, you guys. I don't think you understand how well this is performing. I am blown away, honestly. I'm gonna go with one little dot of the bisque on the very inner corner here. I shouldn't have put that just on my eye. I should have used it and worked it into the brush. I'm being a bad influence, but notice how I'm kind of creating that cut crease shape. Flawless. Flawless. Okay, so this is what I kind of like to start with. Then I will do my face and kind of see how much more dark or light I want to add, what kind of shadows I want to add. So I'm just gonna do my foundation first. This is the House Labs Tricyclone foundation in this shade 050. I don't know why this technique works so well with this little brush from, where's this from? It Cosmetics for Ulta. This was sent to me, but it kind of is like that like spatula technique. Going to start in the center of my face where I want the most coverage. It kind of looks crazy in the beginning, but what it's kind of doing, I think, is filling in the crevices while also like crevices as in pores while also smoothing it out, so you're kind of like filling everything in instead of like stamping and taking away, if that makes sense, like you would with a brush or a beauty blender. You can see I'm just kind of smoothing that out. Also really allows me to make these like carved out lines. As you can see how much like fallout you have, you don't even realize it. This under the eye, under the nose. After I do this and let it dry a little bit, that's when I go in with the sponge. But I just start on the cheeks, working down the neck, and then whatever's left I go on forehead because the forehead shows the most amount of product. So I kind of want to make it look a little bit more natural. I'm gonna make this line here, eyebrows, nose. Now I just go in with the Beauty Blender and kind of just smooth everything out. Go over the nose with what's left. Notice how what we did with that contour is kind of starting to rear its head at this point. A little bit of like an underpainting technique with the shadow. The shadow already looks so good. I mean, when you add the foundation and just like neutralize everything, it always just ends up looking so good. Bringing that down the neck. I neutralize my lips, especially for like a 90s makeup look. And 90s brows were really just like a soft arch. I kind of cut the end of my tail off here just because I want it to be a little bit more lifted. I like to start kind of right here. If you start too close here, it's going to make it darker, and you really want the front of the brow to be the lightest and the end to be the darkest to bring your attention up and away. I'm just gonna make that kind of like soft shape by sketching out top and the bottom, then softly filling in the front. Sometimes I even go a little bit farther down just to kind of create the look that my eyebrows start farther down. I just think it adds a lot of like youthfulness. Lightly filling that in and then letting my eyebrows kind of like sit the way they want to, and then filling them. My eyebrow would usually go down like that, and now I can bring it out. I am going to clean it up a little bit, but you're gonna take the spoolie and work all that pigment through. It just really helps soften the brow. You can add a highlight later, which I'll show you how to do with kind of like a matte pencil. I think it's a lot easier than a shadow. It looks a lot better. Filling in any gaps like that. I'm actually not gonna put any gel in them because I just want them to look soft and just the most natural. Not everyone can do that with their eyebrows, but I have laminated these things back so many times that they kind of just like stay in place where I want them to. I'm just gonna put a little bit of concealer right here and let it sit for a second while I do my bronzer. This is a really great trick to kind of add a little bit more coverage where you need it because it dries down and becomes a little bit more tacky and a little bit more full coverage. I love that tip. I'm actually gonna go in with my contour now before I do my bronzer. This is the Westman Atelier contour stick in the shade Biscuit. This is my second time purchasing this. Just like a nice soft shade for my skin tone. If I want it to look very 90s, it's gonna have to be a contoured look, but like really softly blended, if that makes sense. So be very specific where you're placing it for your face shape. These are some great spots to kind of create that angularity you're looking for. I like to kind of do this with my contour under the nose and go like that with my lips and then the center like this. And we're just going to kind of press that and not move it too far. We are going to use this concealer in other spots to kind of clean up, but right now it's just able to blend into the foundation. But I love makeup. Like if you make a mistake, it's so easy to just clean up. You can always clean. Get in here where my scalp shows. With 90s makeup, you're just trying to make this like triangle like this. So you can see why I'm placing the contour around that triangle to bring it back. And then we're gonna add lightness in the center to kind of bring that forward. And that's what creates that really like contoured model-esque face shape. I do like this contour because it's not too cool. I don't want to look too dead. And see how this has gone down? I will show you how to clean that up. See how that could just really create an angular jawline. Make sure you go behind the ear as well and in the ear. I mean, don't get it on your hair like me, but I'm just lazy sometimes. I mean, I think it's easier to get away with like getting makeup in your hair if you have darker hair. If you're blonde, like you cannot be as haphazard as I am sometimes. Blending the nose and up into the eyebrow. That is very 90s. With the light here and like the darkness here, roughly blending that out. We will use a contour stain and a lip shaping kind of situation after, but this is like kind of like the rough shape we're creating. I'm gonna use this Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt with the same brush that I use the contour, because if you use the same brush over and over, going kind of like darkest to lightest, it will blend a lot more seamlessly. And you're kind of just gonna go on the inside of wherever, like if this is the outside of the contour, you're gonna go on the inside with your bronzer. And this is all gonna depend too on your face shape, kind of how you want to lay this down. But I unfortunately don't have a bunch of face shapes. I have one. We're gonna do it how I kind of like to do it. For me, it's pretty generic, honestly. And then this is when you go in with a cream blush. I want something very kind of like beigey blush. If we're gonna do 90s, nothing too bright, nothing too warm. You want to keep it very neutral. Really like this blush in CL. Now, someone with a lighter skin tone than me, this, or like, I mean, a different undertone than me, this might not look as beige, right? It all depends on what looks best on you. And so that's why I really like and recommend going in store to test these on your own skin tone. Pressing a little bit of that into upper eyebrow so it doesn't look too cakey. Again, we can clear this all up. This is giving very blush blindness, but just trust the process. Because the blush and the bronzer and the contour all have coverage, it's a lot easier to do light layers and layer over each other to kind of get that perfect blend versus just doing one layer of everything. This is why I don't mind blowing certain areas out, because I was just adding coverage at the end of the day and not really adding too much cakiness if you're using the right products. Like, they just kind of like sink into the skin, in my opinion. I also do have the skin type that can kind of absorb a lot of makeup. If you are a little bit older, more mature, I would try using even less in the beginning. Now we're going to kind of carve everything out with a brightening color. I love that this isn't too opaque. This is the Cali Ray. It's the clean under eye color corrector, but I love that it has this like pinky tone and it's not too opaque. So it really allows me to clean up, but also doesn't add too much cakiness. Allows what I put underneath kind of to shine through. This is kind of what I'll do with it. Just like paint it right on the face. Usually you'd want to take a brush, but this stuff just blends in so nicely. And I love the applicator, how small it is, and it really just allows me to kind of create the shapes I want. I'm trying to create this like C shape around my eye that adds a lot of youthfulness, but again, see this like kind of triangle we're trying to make on our face. I know this looks crazy, but just trust the process, okay? The nose is very Kevin Aqua painting faces. You know, you know. So I'm gonna go actually back in with what I use for my foundation because it's just like really sharp. I can kind of place it where I want first, especially trying to like carve out the nose and again get that like beautiful blend with this tool. I'm gonna carve out the eye a little bit. See how a little bit's already like kind of shining through this product? It's so nice because it kind of creates that like gradual look, and then when we take the beauty blender, it will really just kind of blend everything together. It's kind of like an underpainting sandwich. Like, you apply your foundation, then you underpaint a little bit, and then you kind of apply a lighted color or a foundation again, kind of like underpaint, then overpaint, then underpaint and overpaint. That's these like layers I'm talking about, and that is what makes makeup look so flawless and beautiful and just so blended. I mean, look at that. I do want my blush to show a little bit more. That's when you would go in with a powder blush, and I always do my powders before I do anything on like a really dark liner, like in my waterline, on top, any mascara that I want to do, any lashes, because that, even like the smallest amount, can like puff up and kind of make them look gray and fall and get heavy. So that's kind of like the underpainting part. I'm actually just gonna do a little bit of a contour with this Huda Beauty just here on the top and on the bottom. Lip stains for contour is just so handy. It's not gonna like go away halfway through the day, which is so nice. It's like in here to kind of create some depth. I don't want to apply too much. Now, before we do any powders, we're gonna go with one of my favorite products ever. It's the NYX Jumbo Pencil in white, and this just adds so much like life and natural life back into the skin without having to be too glittery, and that's what like 90s makeup is all about. These are the kind of the places I will stick it, and then blending with your finger is the best that I found with this. It just gives you the most control if you have good motor skills. Gorgeous, look at that eye. I mean, such a good hack. What have I done? So I'm actually gonna melt all these layers together with the One Size Power Melt. Now we are gonna do our powder products. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish in 2, and I don't like baking. I think it looks great in photos and on camera, but I think just like a nice soft matte look with a pressed powder is just so much nicer in person, especially for 90s makeup. It is this like kind of soft matte, and I find that the Hourglass or the Haus Labs products really need to be set, especially where I live in Houston. I'm gonna set the entire face, and I'm gonna take this Mob Beauty bronzer. You can tell I love this palette so much. Really work that into the brush, and we're just going to kind of like drape and reshape and go over any of those kind of contours we created with that like underpaint or the creams. This is just going to set it all. I like to put a little bit in the center of my nose. You're gonna tap anywhere you want a little bit more pigment and kind of like drape anywhere you just want it to kind of like look soft and naturally lit. I'm gonna get my chest here, and I'm gonna grab this Haus Labs in Pomelo Peach. I think the best thing to do at the very end with your powder blush is just to dab a tiny amount wherever you want like a little bit of a lift, and kind of let the best color for you, like I look good in peaches, kind of pop into your eyes, and then having all these like taupey beigey colors around this color will kind of just balance it all out. A little bit in my eyebrow. And this blush, any powder blush that you put will fade, so don't be afraid. Just add a little bit more in the beginning because it will kind of dissipate. Always put blush down on your chest so it matches, makes it look like the sun hit you here, 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 and here, which it naturally would. So I'm actually gonna take a eyebrow pencil, the pencil I use on my eyebrows, to line my lips because this is a 90s look. I think it's nice to have those like tones matte, and this will create such a beautiful contoured lip. I know it seems strange, but just pigment can do a lot with pigment. Go anywhere on your face you want. And I'm just gonna take a little bit of this CoverGirl Outlast lip stain in the shade Canyon and kind of go on these inner corners wherever I line. If you blend it out, it kind of creates this like rosy tone, which is very close to my natural. Going along anywhere I place that contour, and then I'm blending it out with my finger. This will help it stay so much longer. Adding a little bit of that brightener right in the center, because this is so thin, it's great on the lips. And I'm gonna take this Westman Atelier Squeaky Clean Lip Balm in the shade Nana. Just add a little bit of a gloss, not too much, really just to keep the hydration. Now, the part we're all waiting for, let's finish off the eyes. So for in the waterline, you really wanna use a gel pot liner with a tiny little brush. This one's from Maybelline, and I am cruelty-free, but I don't know a option available that is cruelty-free for this that works. So brands, please get on it. I would like to be able to be completely cruelty-free, but there really is nothing like a gel pot liner for in the waterline. It will create the darkest color, and that's really what's gonna make your eyes pop. So I'm just looking down all the way into the corner of my eye. This always tickles me so bad. I'm so ticklish. I don't know how people not get ticklish with this step. I mean, don't go over it too many times either because it will remove itself. That's why I was actually so impressed with the Makeup by Mario, because you can layer and just get smoother and smoother without pulling itself off the skin. That's really hard to find in makeup products. Again, kudos to them. You can tell when an owner works hard to create something that's like useful for the consumer. I take my time with this because I don't like to get it in my eye. So it's gone in the waterline. Now I'm gonna do something called tight lining, and that's just going in between the eyelashes. Because it's like kind of like this, like the top of where the lashes come out. This is where I am right now, if that makes sense, like tight lining, and then the water line's under here. So I'm trying to like make this whole area really dark and black. That is what's really going to pull off the look. Now I take a clean kind of angled brush like this, and I'm going to tight line, but without any product on the actual actual brush because you're gonna have had some product touch your lashes on the skin, and that is enough product just to kind of smoke stuff out enough, because if you bring it down too far, that's gonna really drag the eye down. You're essentially tight lining with whatever is kind of left. Hope you can see kind of how that makes a difference. Just that small tiny detail, and that's kind of where like this makeup artistry kind of comes in my opinion. I'm actually gonna connect that dark liner.
Wow.
Like that. See, it's flaking. This inglot, not inglot, what do they call it? Tattoo Studio. I'm just trying to make that outer corner as black as I can. I'm hoping you can see kind of by just what I did smudging out there, it makes it look less harsh. I'm just going to take that fallout and just smudge it and just make it look a little bit more lived in. Okay, so it is lash time. I'm gonna use this Black Duo Quickset Strip Lash Adhesive Dark Tone, and then these velour fluffy lashes. I usually would do a half lash of the Ardell Baby Wispies. Don't have those, so hopefully these are gonna be fine. I just really don't like long lashes. I might just use the two very short ones here, because I think like if it kind of like goes out like this, it kind of drags the eye down and up. So what we're gonna do is use the shortest lash, maybe just one set on the outside of the eye, just to add a little bit of length, volume, where the lash will, oh my god, why can't I open this? Anyway, so get yourself a pair of these. They're great for applying lashes. This is from Velour. Oh, it's actually this set. I must have got this in PR. I mean, obviously I didn't buy this. I don't even know where you can get it, but it's what we have today. So I'm thinking, oh, you know what? Let's see. No, maybe I'll do, oh, I have 4 short. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna do 2 short on this side and 2 short on the other side. And the best way to do this is actually just to apply some of this adhesive to the actual box. Get your lash in the glue, and then really the trick is to let this sit for 20 seconds. Let it completely almost dry down, and then when there's just a little bit of tackiness left on with this glue, that's when you apply it. That will make it not slide around. A really great way to add a lot of lift to the eye is to actually apply it not right on the lash line down here, but maybe a little bit angled and up. That will really help create that cat eye, maybe making a little bit more straight than going down. See how that could like make the eye kind of droop down versus placing it like this, and I will show you how I do that. Hopefully you guys can see I'm doing kind of like looking down into the mirror, placing that right corner. Can't really see it on there, but I can see it in real life. You can see it a little bit, and it just sticks like perfect. That is gorgeous. We're going to grab another one. Again, kind of hard. I wish lashes like made it easier to actually get it off here without like hurting them. I'm sure there's some kind of trick to it, but I don't wear enough lashes to like really care that much. When you're doing kind of like a date night sexy eye like this, it is nice to add a little bit of a lash. I do like the Baby Demi Wispies from Ardell. These are actually pretty beautiful and wispy. I mean, I'd never heard of them before. Oh, they're under lash application. Oops, meaning you're supposed to go underneath, but whatever. That's what it is now. And that adds enough for when we put the mascara on. This will all kind of go together, but first I'm gonna wait for this to dry a little bit before I do the side so I can just clamp it all together. It will catch some of the skin and really give a lifted look, almost like jaw surgery. Sorry, I keep putting this mirror in front of the camera. I don't mean to. Okay, see how we're like clamping it all together? Really, it's just sticking on there. And then when we add mascara, this will all just blend really nicely. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I hope you can see how much glue I applied to both sides of the lash, all the way around the lash. Sorry, this is like really hard to keep in focus. But yeah, that's about as much glue as I add. I don't want these going anywhere. I hate when they like lift. So if you have a hard time when you're actually applying this much glue, it's not sticking, it's because you're not waiting long enough for it to get tacky. That is like my #1 tip. And it can be really hard when you're using a black lash glue, because like you stick it down, it lifts, and then it touches somewhere else on your eye, and now you like are pulling your eye makeup off, and it's just like can be a whole thing. So wait for it to be tacky. I promise it will change your life. Okay, I'm gonna go in with this Fenty mascara. It's pretty good actually. I would say it's like 7.5 out of 10. I really like the wand and initial application. I just wish it lasted a little bit longer. See how it's now catching on to our bow lashes, and kind of by like, if you lift the eyelashes up like this, it gives you that like doe eye. Then you can kind of pull them to the side or outer corner, and that can really just give you that sweeping effect. I'm going to keep and like kind of dab right where the lashes kind of come out, and we can kind of clean that up with a spoolie after. And I think keeping the lashes pretty natural for this look is what really helps pull it off. It just looks like your lashes but better. And too intense. Actually, you should not do that. You should do this. Doing the like pumping motion really dries out your lashes, or your mascara. Mascara actually dries out your lashes too. That's why I choose not to wear it every day, because that can make your eyelashes really short. Pro tip there. Now, if you notice, I did not set the powders on my face. I kind of just wanted them to sit there and keep my face looking matte. But what I like to do at the end of the makeup, and it really helps transform and really adds a lot of dimension. If you notice, we did cream, powders. Now we're gonna kind of lock those powders in with creams instead of a setting spray. So just take a beauty blender and this Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Skin Enhancing Transformer Enhancer. I don't know. It's so hard to say it every time I have to say it. You guys know what I mean. This is in the shade Light. I'm just going over anywhere we applied that bronzer and contour. Starting at the back, bringing that forward. This brings life back into the skin without actually having to add like a glittery or too shiny of a highlighter on the face. You notice how it just like brought the life back into the skin. This is like one of my favorite tricks ever. You can go back over it with a cream blush if you wish as well, which is what I'm gonna do. This makeup will stay on all night, by the way. Like how I'm layering this is really the secret to like the long lasting makeup that's not going anywhere. I found her. I was looking for her earlier, but this is Rare Beauty shade Bliss. Before, I think they changed the color, but before it was a little bit more beige, but I think this is also a really beautiful pinky color. I'm just going to, see? It just like adds like the nicest amount of color and lift and life. This is why I love makeup. It just is so transformative and fun and creative. And why not add a little beauty mark right here just to kind of finish it off. So now that the makeup's done, what do I think? Final thoughts on these Makeup by Mario Soft Matte, Master Mattes, Liquid Pro. They're all these products start to sound the same at the end of the day. Again, I got Bisque, Black, Mauve, and Sandstone. These are gorgeous. I would say this is better for like intermediate makeup user. I wouldn't give a beginner something like this. You just really have to be meticulous with your blending. Have a good brush stock. And so these would actually be great as a base in a lighter color or a color that kind of matches your skin tone. Obviously for people who are darker skin than me, they would go with the darker shades closer to their skin tone. That would be a great base, or just like a one swipe wash of color for every day. Like I would probably use the Sandstone every day, just how I use the Rem Beauty shade Nevermind, their liquid shadow. These are a little bit more like matte, pillowy, cushiony, and they are a little bit less patchy than the Rem Beauty. So I think I might be leaning towards this. I love that they added a black. The black performs beautifully. It doesn't go too brown. I like that it's like a true blue black, soft black. So yeah, I do recommend these if you're looking for like a kind of easy one swipe of color, or if you kind of want to create a more like intense eye like this. They are gorgeous and they do have my stamp of approval.